Hi guys. So it has been so long since I've made a video. I think since before I went on spring break, and I know that's so bad, and I'm going to apologize. I was going to apologize, but then I realized that taking care of yourself is so important, and just this week I realized that I wasn't really taking care of myself, and I love my community and I love my friends, and sometimes I realize that I put people before myself and then I put people before God. And just the last couple of days I realized that um, if you're putting your community and your friends before God, then that's not healthy, because God is ultimately number one, and if your relationship with him is not right, then your relationship with your friends it doesn't really matter per se. Like, you need to have a good relationship with God to sustain good relationships with your friends, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And if I'm not my best because I'm not best with God, then I can't be my best for my friends. And that's kind of what I was like realizing these past couple days, because I want to give my all, but I can't give my all if I'm not giving my all to God first. And that was like super humbling. So that's just like really important. Like, make sure God is your number one priority, because through that he can make everything else great. You cannot make everything else great yourself. And I think a lot of people, especially myself, we're perfectionists in ourselves, and we think that we can do everything by ourselves and for ourselves, and ultimately that's just not how it works. God is the person that controls everything in our lives, and if we are not handing things over to him and allowing him to do things in our lives, it's going to come falling down and crumbling down, because we just ultimately can't hold our everything together. We aren't perfect. Sin entered the world, so we can't be perfect. That's just not possible. So we just need to accept that and realize that God has the ultimate say. God has the ultimate power, and when we take things to him, he can control everything, and it's just so much better when he has control over every little part of our lives. With that being said, I just have some great news. This morning was just like really rough for me, because I was just kind of like living in this of like, God, like, I need you to be at the center of my life right now. Not that he wasn't necessarily before, but I just felt like the weight of all these things were like kind of like trying to take over, and I didn't want that. So I was like, God, like, I just please give me peace right now. And don't allow all this work overload and like all these things happening to like become the idol. Like, I need you to stay the center, because that's what I want. That's what I always want, and I don't want distractions or anything like that to I don't want the enemy to try and remove God from the center of my life. And through that, something that I've been going back and forth with for a long time now is getting baptized. And so I decided that, I'm about to make a really big change in my life. I'm graduating college in a little over 2 weeks, and I'm all in. I've been all in for a while with God, but like, it's just like a true I'm all in. There's no reason to like hold back and wait any longer. So I'm just taking the plunge, and I'm gonna publicly declare my faith. God has shown me through this past year just truly how much he is capable of doing if I just hand over my life to him. And we're just getting started, and I'm just excited for this journey, and I'm ready. I just want God to have full control of my life, and I've been giving him a lot of control, and like day by day I'm realizing, oh, like, I haven't given God this yet, like, let me give him this. And every time I do that, he amazes me. He amazes me. He amazes me. He amazes me. And just, if there's something that you're holding on to, like, I'm not a crier, but I'm about to cry. Like, if there's something you're holding on to because you're scared, like, give it to God. He will do more than you can even think is possible. like, if you're hurting, like, the hurt isn't gonna immediately go away. Like, God is gonna put you through some trials. God is gonna test you with different things because he wants you to grow. And through that growing, he's going to bless you so much. He has so many blessings in store for you. If you would just hand him over that hurt, if you would hand him over those struggles and just confess to him, like, God, please enter this part of my life, he is going to show you so much beauty and so much greatness that he can provide you. And that is just so true in my life. From the community he provided me, you know, I was so scared to be left out of the crowd of getting drunk all the time and just trying to fit in with people that were mean and manipulative and talked so bad about other people. But when I was like, God, I don't want to be part of this anymore, he literally stepped in and gave me the best group of people I could ever imagine being around. And it's just incredible. It's just incredible to look back over this past year and see how much he truly has done in my life. You know, when I confessed about, through my friends, and just like admitting, like, I have a problem with my eating and I struggle with body image and self-love. You know, that's a real thing that a lot of girls struggle with. But just like admitting, like, yes, some days I don't eat a single lick of food, and some days I just sit and stare at myself and hate myself looking in the mirror. And when you bring light to those struggles, or when you confess it to God, even not even through community, but if you just confess that to God, you will realize that you're not alone, and God will provide you that strength that you are so desperately needing. And it's just amazing. It doesn't mean that it's going to become so easy. That's not what God promises. He promises grace, and he promises strength, and he promises that you're not going to be alone through this journey. And it's just so incredible. I just cannot, like, I just can't imagine my life without God now. And I think that's why I'm just so ready to just publicly say, like, yes, Jesus is my Lord and Savior. And I know that God loved us so much that he brought Jesus down here to live a life that we lived. So now we can go and say, I'm struggling with this temptation, because Jesus knows, he understands, because he came here and dealt with the same temptations that we are dealing with. He understands. So when we talk about it, he can relate to what we're going through, and he's not going to put us through something that we can't get out of, temptation wise. Like, there is a way out, and that way out is going to God with it, and not just walking through it. You know, we're not alone through those temptations and struggles if we just take it to him. So I'm ready to be all in and live a life, and understanding that before I was more of a fan. So anytime something good would happen, I would praise Jesus, you know. But if something bad would happen, I'd be like, why did you do this to me, God? Like, shame on you. But now I understand that the good or the bad is worth praising God, and like just understanding that it's part of his plan and there's a bigger purpose, and just having faith in everything that's going on. And it's not easy to have faith. Like, by all means, it's not easy, but just knowing that there's so much greater that we can't see or understand, and that's just like trusting God that there's something behind the scenes that he's creating for us that's going to be so amazing. So just like learning that and growing through that has been incredible. And I just never imagined my life to be this way. I didn't. A year ago, I was such a different person, and God has just made me new. And I'm just so grateful and thankful for everything he's done in my life, all the people he's brought into my life, all the people he's allowed me to touch through him to them, and just to be that vessel for him. It's just been incredible. I've learned so much, I've grown so much, and I'm just really ready for this next step in my life. And it's scary, but I just know that God's going to direct me wherever he wants me, and I'm excited. I'm starting a job, and I'm staying here in Bowling Green, so we'll see where that takes me. When I went to Beach Reach, I decided to sign a check for the next 2 years to God to take me anywhere he wants. So if he tells me that I'm moving across the country in 2 weeks, that's where I'm going. I know that I just took a job